Hey everyone, I am Alan Seals.
And I'm John Zaytoon.
Welcome to the first ever live podcast recording of Broadway Besties. This is a brand new podcast from the Broadway Podcast Network. We've been recording episodes. We're going to get the feed out soon, but this is our first live event. We figure here in the midst of Corona time that we could get this to you as a little bit of a thank you for listening and whatnot. So I'm excited to share this Monday evening with all of you. And before we get started with the wickedly talented Shoshana Bean, Jenn Gambatese, and Michelle Kittrell, I wanted to remind everyone to please support the Actors Fund if you can. I'll throw up a little banner here. There we go. So there's a banner. Go to bpn.fm/donate as we're trying to use this podcast platform to further support our onstage and offstage heroes. And there are many people out there who work in the industry and they could use your support today if you are able, like props and wardrobe and like all the people behind the scenes that you don't even think about. Everybody needs the support.
And throughout this live podcast, if you'd like to ask any of our guests a question and are on Facebook, you can add your comment into the live section of the video. And if you're watching with us on YouTube, just go ahead and leave your comments in the chat and we can see it there and we'll be sure to ask our guests.
And so today, of course, we're joined by real-life Broadway best friends, Shoshana Bean, Jenn Gambatese, and Michelle Kittrell. And on Broadway, Shoshana has wowed audiences in shows like Wicked and Waitress and Hairspray. And when she's not on the Broadway stage, Shoshana is touring the world, bringing her songs and the best of Broadway to sold-out audiences. Fans who can't get enough of Shoshana's powerhouse vocals and killer riffs. John wrote this script. This is crazy. Powerhouse vocals and killer riffs on stage can continue to listen to her on one of her 4 solo albums.
And fans love Broadway favorite Jenn Gambatese from hit shows like Hairspray, Tarzan, All Shook Up, and School of Rock. On tour, Jenn delighted audiences around the country as Glinda in Wicked. And this season, Jenn returned to Broadway in Mrs. Doubtfire, which we are all excited to hopefully see once the coronavirus pandemic improves. Both Shoshana and Jenn were joined by the amazing Kristen Chenoweth on stage this past November for her concert engagement called For the Girls. Michelle Kittrell is the final member of today's Broadway Best Friend trio and was seen on Broadway in shows like Hairspray, Seussical, Legally Blonde, and All Shook Up. She was also seen in touring productions of Grease and Footloose. After spending 11 years on Broadway, Michelle now pursues the entertainment profession on the other side in management.
So without further ado, let's bring in the guests, of course. It is Shoshana Bean, Michelle Kittrell, and Jenn Gambatese. Welcome.
Hello. We're here.
You're here. And Shoshana, we got one comment here. Hope you're okay. For those who don't know, what just happened?
Avocado.
You sliced your hand?
Yeah. 7 stitches. I was trying to pit an avocado, and I would never advise anyone else to do it with my technique. And yet I have up until this, point at 42 years old. I shall no longer be pitting an avocado in such a manner.
So it's more like just stabbing it to gauge. Okay. So this podcast is
the flat end of the knife and go bam into the pit and then twist and lift. FYI.
Okay, I'll try that next time. I may not even try that. I may just stick to spoons from here forward.
That's probably the safest.
So this podcast is all about real life best friends, the relationships that, pulling back the curtain behind the relationships that we've all seen, all of you on stage. And so I want to just kick this off like very easily and just tell us about how the 3 of you met. Why are the 3 of you real life best friends?
Well, we became best friends because of Hairspray. That's where we solidified as a trio. But Kitty and I, Michelle goes by Kitty. Now you know that. Kitty and I first met back in Footloose when you were vacation swinging or in.
Yeah, I had done the tour and they brought me in. Somebody was out, and so I was there, and then I just kept coming back in different tracks. Yeah.
And I'll say this because she's heard me say it a million times, and it kind of goes for also when Sho and I first met. Like, if you could have knocked me over with a feather when we first met to say like that strong, amazing kind of like, can you say this on the podcast? Badass lady is like going to be your best friend. I'd be like, lucky me. So that we met in Footloose, and then Show likes to remind me that that I forget when we first met. I'll let you go ahead. You take over, but I don't forget. Go.
I think we first met at a Footloose audition, like in the waiting room, and then we worked together on a reading of a Romeo and Juliet musical, and then we finally, like, you know, really became close during Hairspray.
And that's why I say I didn't forget, because, like, you know, audition mode. I was like, you know, audition mode. And then the Romeo and Juliet that she's talking about, I had understudied Juliet in a production of it. And then when we did this reading, I was playing Juliet. So I had an awful lot to prove, and like had a lot of blinders on. So I mean, you know, I listened to her cleaning my house all the time on the Godspell. And my husband went to college with her. So we kind of like go way back.
Well, and Shoshana and I, she likes to say too that I actually forgot that we met earlier than Hairspray too, because we had a mutual friend that we had met like in passing, but I was all excited to meet her in Hairspray because of this mutual friend who adores her. And I was like, she was not very nice to me. But in the dressing room, our seats were right next to each other. And it was love, forever love after that.
Again, unforgettable.
Yeah. Somehow I think everybody just guffawed who's ever listening. You are not forgettable.
That's right.
Well, what is it about the three of you that keep drawing you back? 'Cause I mean, you were saying off mic that you have a Marco Polo thread, that you're just in constant contact every day. So, I mean, is there like a defining moment anywhere in the history that the three of you have where you're like, all right, this is it. These are my BFFs for life?
I mean, for me, there are countless defining moments. You cannot make us cry on this. Okay? There are so many defining moments. I think back in the Hairspray days when we were like brunching and stuff, was it all three of us going through breakups, or kind of, sort of? Yeah, kind of, sort of. And so I think that was like the beginning. It was a long, long time ago. But ever since then, they're not like just my best friends. They're like my everything. So
Jen and I dated boys that lived together during Hairspray. So we were.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Did you say you dated or traded?
Dated.
Or taking men, so that'll never be an issue.
Yeah, luckily we're not fighting over the same fellas.
But yes, we were dating fellas that were roommates at the time, so that was part of it. And then there were breakups, and then there was just life, and we're I think we always say we're like on a vulnerability spectrum, kind of like toughness and softness. And usually, like, I'm the one, what am I, the far left, I guess? And Kitty's the far right, and Shows in between. But in the years that we've been friends, I feel like I've like tapped into that stronger, fiercer, no nonsense side of the spectrum because of them. So that's been good.
Well, I think for me too, like I would say that yes, there are many, many defining moments, like me lying in the fetal position in Jen's lap while me trying to figure out how do I get a real person's resume when I was going to stop performing. That was a defining moment in our relationship, no doubt about it. But I think it's more than just that. I think that over the years, we see things, while similar, completely different. We challenge each other. We keep each other accountable. I wholeheartedly believe that I have grown as a person because of these two women. And we continue to grow together. And they're just family. So you know that they're there. But, you know, there's something special about chosen family. And these are my chosen girls. And I think that just continues to grow as life gets more complicated and sometimes more challenging.
Like now?
Yes.
Yeah, are you guys hanging in there for each other, during this whole quarantine time? Because Jen looks like you're in New York, right?
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
north of the city.
Yeah. So, yeah, Kitty, where I'll call you Kitty. Kitty, where are you in New York too?
I am. I'm smack dab in the city on 45th Street. Yeah. Oh, I
Oh,
shouldn't
wow.
say that out loud, but yeah, totally. I'm in the middle of it.
And then Show, I know you're out on the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the three of you, I mean, is it hard to keep in touch? I guess technology makes it easier, but do you go through moments where you just have to be with each other again?
Yeah, I mean, well, Kitty's a big birthday girl. So over the years, like a lot of our kind of bigger memories have been on her bigger birthdays. Oh, we're the sweetest. Look, you guys. Um, so although a big birthday, we did one of Show's big birthdays in Hawaii. We've taken some amazing trips together. Um, and yes, with Show on the West Coast, like it's when all three of us can be together. I mean, thankfully her career path like brings her to New York a lot. So that's nice. But then it's, I've got kids now. Kitty's a busy manager lady. So getting all three of us together has gotten trickier, I think. So they got me onto Marco Polo. I was resistant. We call them movies. I left you.
No, Jen calls them movies.
We don't call them movies. P.S. Those two are always like throwing me under the bus. Like I'll say something or I'll do something, and then they'll say, "That's your friend." That's
I haven't done that in a very long time. We the sensitivity and adjusted accordingly. We have not done that in a long time. I call them movies. I left
you ever fight?
Marco Polo. Do we fight? Of course.
Yeah. Like, what's one thing that like is like, oh crap, like show's doing that again, or Jen's being this way.
Going here.
I don't know.
I don't know to say it on a podcast, but hurt feelings. I think more than anything, it's not necessarily fighting as much as hurt feelings. Like I know, there's sensitivities around certain things, and there's birthday expectations and things like that. Missed birthdays. I usually miss birthdays. Yeah, things like that. Just hurt feelings more than anything.
But like the most awesome thing over the years has been our ability to express those hurt feelings to each other and like receive it and like change tacks and like there's nothing. And I remember one time when it was my feelings that was hurt. Again, we really won't go into it in podcast, but I had the individual conversations with each of you, and like there's no two people on the planet that I can trust more to hear me, receive it, like own whatever has to be owned, offer, I can say anything to them. So that's been kind of awesome over the years. To grow in that capacity to be like, I can tell you like this made me mad or this made me, but thankfully I think we can count on one hand really.
Yeah, I agree. I think too, like the older, at least for me, the older I get, the less ego I have about it. If I hurt somebody's feelings, I'm owning it. Like it's just my people are too important.
Yeah.
Right. What have you learned from each other? I mean, in terms of like of a career wise, you've come from the same place and gone out to sort of three distinct different paths. Are you still learning from each other, or did you learn from each other before and now you just advise each other on life? How is the professional side now?
Well, I think for us, like our professionals, like anybody in our industry, like the professional side of things is a big part of your life. So it's wonderful with these two that like I can talk about, real life and work life and they get it all, they understand how it all intersects. And yeah, definitely my go-to sounding boards for, well, especially now Kitty on the other side of the table and I could say really run things past her in that way. And yeah, and I think we talk about it all.
Yeah, it helps to have to be in the same field essentially.
So was Hairspray the only show that the three of you collectively all then did together, and that was sort of your sort of introduction to each other, or did any duo within the trio wind up going to do other shows together over the years?
Yes, well, Kitty and I did All Shook Up after Hairspray,
Right.
and Shoshana was honorarily in that show.
Nice.
Totally.
Because she, like, after she saw it, she was like, I'm the #1 fan. I'm the Shakies. I'm the Shakies.
It's a fun show. And I think that obviously Shoshana and Jenn specifically, you all both have experience doing different productions of Wicked. So Shoshana, I actually saw you on Broadway in Wicked, and Jenn, I know you did the first national tour of Wicked as Glinda. I'm curious, when you both sort of went through that journey of Wicked and the demand that is Wicked, and at the time, and still, the fans that follow it, was there any advice that Shoshana you gave Jenn going into it? Anything sort of key learnings, or no, just because it was completely different tracks and different cities and totally different experiences?
Yeah, I don't remember imparting anything in particular. I don't.
I do. I remember when it was good too. Well, it also, because it was so far apart. I think it was like 10 years apart. That she had done it in New York to when I did it on tour. But it was specifically like within the, you were like the standby and then like the second one, right? In New York. I was like number whatever on Emerald City. And she had gone back into the show a couple times after. So she knew like the machine of the production really, really well. And, when you're a replacement, you're kind of a cog in that machine. And she just gave me some good advice about like how to take the notes that I was given, and take them, receive them, not ask too many more questions, and just do the work on my own, kind of, because it's
sift through it.
Yeah.
They used to be anyway, like you were under their thumb and they were breathing down your neck a little bit, and it got a little exhausting. It made you feel like you couldn't make any right moves or question sort of everything you do. So I remember being like, that's normal. What you're experiencing, everyone experiences. You'll find your own way to deal with it. But I do remember those
one particular thing, and a new witch was coming in, and I was taking a note, and I wanted to clarify, because like I'm always like, try to be a good student. And so I took the note, we finished the rehearsal, and then I just wanted to make sure I really, really understood it so that I could, and she was like, that's a mistake. Like, don't go further, because it can get a little tense sometimes.
And sort of what about, as you've all grown beautifully in your own respective careers? Katie, I know you sort of had an amazing sort of Broadway career before you sort of shifted to the management side of the industry, which I think is really keen insight to be able to know sort of how the whole industry functions, both as a performer and then as someone on the business communications admin side of things. For Jenn and Shoshana, as you both have, gone on and performed New York, across the world, have there been dream shows that as you've grown you sort of would love to do together? Are there sort of dream projects you'd love to do together? Any type of dream casting you wanted to share with everyone on the podcast?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Because we like to dream and manifest together. We like to get specific. Any
dream director you all want to work with? You can throw in creative team members.
Yeah, I want Kitty to produce. What do we want her to produce, Joe?
Well, then I'm taking mine off the table.
What do you mean?
We can have a few options.
Never mind. I'm going to shut my mouth.
I must have asked the wrong question.
You got to say it now.
No, I can't. Now I've really set it up. I definitely can't say it. I'll tell my girls later.
Okay. Send us movie. I don't know. What would you want to act with me, Show? What could we do? Let's do Steel Magnolias.
I wouldn't say that. But Jenn used to have this idea, and I know that it started happening with other people, but I think they've abandoned ship. She had this idea ages ago to do League of Their Own as a musical. And that always sounded exciting to me, but I know it's
Kicked
Well, that's appropriate because they're about to do that on TV too.
in the hands it was in. It died. I don't know where it is now, but that
They're doing it on TV, Kitty. They're doing it.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Disney Plus.
when I remember when she brought that idea up, I was like, that's a great idea.
But like, I feel like now we'd have to be like in the hall, like, like the Hall of Fame version of people.
Ow.
Like age makeup on. We are.
It's a Where Are They Now?
What?
It's a Where Are They Now? League of Their Own.
Yeah, that would have been fun. I mean, I don't know. I feel like especially because show has moved in such a different direction musically and like as a recording artist, and that's never. I mean, I love to perform with her, but like the mediums she does it in are not like, you know, I'm still such a theater rat.
I get that. When we look back on Hairspray, are there any sort of fun moments or fun memories that you all sort of want to reminisce about for a few moments before we might dive into our sort of game challenge? Just when you think of that show that brought you all together, what comes to mind? What types of experiences might you be able to share with some of our listeners?
that part was key. Harvey's dressing room, Harvey's outer part of his dressing room was just like where we would all like hang and cuddle between shows and order food, and that comes to mind from the theater. What else, girls?
We were very silly. We did some silly things together in Seattle, and when we first got to New York, inappropriate things.
We were young.
Yeah, the fact that like none of that stuff has surfaced, like photographs and things like that, that shows that we became such a family over there. Like truly, those people are like brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers, and the fact that none of that shit surfaced is like a miracle, and also just shows you like the code of the circle of trust is strong.
And like, just to put it out there, it wasn't like, it was all goofy stuff. It wasn't like we were like, you know, debauched or anything.
Just a little bit.
Just enough. Just enough.
We also got to do like really fun things. We got to do things that like no other Broadway show got to do traditionally or typically. We got to go on David Letterman. We got to go perform at the VH1 Vogue Fashion Awards. We got to, you know, do the Christmas tree light. He probably saw my Instagram and was like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was, there's never been another experience for me like quite like Hairspray.
Even the Wicked tour, like being such a machine and as much notoriety as it came. Like I heard you say the other day that was right before social media. So I guess, did that make it easier or harder? Like doing shows before the game of social media came in I guess that's probably why a lot of those things never surfaced. Yeah,
easier, way easier. There was nothing to, I don't know, there was no race to run, or like, it was just, you know, the experience people were having in the theater happened in the theater. It didn't happen on YouTube. It didn't happen through, you know, scrolling. It was what theater is meant to be, which is a live community, shared, connected experience. It starts in the theater and it's over when you leave or stays with you or whatever, but there wasn't, you know, I always feel like it's a double-edged sword. It's fantastic because people around the world can connect to it because of technology the way that it is today. But it, the sacredness, the sanctity of it, is I won't say it's gone. It's definitely not gone. That shared experience still happens in the theater, but it's different. It's definitely affected by it. I'll say that.
It's funny when you're talking show, it's like it was more innocent in a way. There was an innocence, which is, I guess, ironic because when we were creating Hairspray, Jack O'Brien was always getting us to think about how much more innocent the 1960s were in some ways, and in so it's
now look at us. 20 years ago was innocent.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
You must feel that way too. You have kids, so like the innocence of like choosing when to give them cell phones and what they can watch on TV. Like,
oh yeah,
that was
intentional. Yeah. And so when we were in our 20s in Hairspray, like we didn't like. Do you guys remember this? I wonder if she's listening. And this was probably not Hairspray. This was probably Footloose, but Kooky Katie Leonard. This was definitely the Footloose days. She used to take her cell phone, like it's probably a flip phone or whatever, and she'd like go, "Hey guys, smile!" Like she was like,
"Fake it." Be like,
yeah, she was like, "Wouldn't that be hilarious if this was a phone?" Smile, and that now we're really.
She could have been a billionaire.
She could have been a billionaire. Yeah.
Wow.
We're really putting ourselves in the league of their own Hall of Fame. But yeah, that was, any other Hairspray memories? The dressing room that Kitty was talking about, we used to call it the airplane because it was just like so narrow. And you could find those ladies today. You could find Camila and Shayna and Holly and Kooky and Judine, and they could tell you exactly where we sat and who said what, and like little stories like, "I just use water." Remember, which has to do with eyeliner application and saliva versus not saliva. But like stupid, just backstage memories.
Yeah, we got closer than a lot of casts because we very early in the process, Jack, one day in rehearsal was like, "What's your name? Why are you a council member? Like, where does your mom," like asked us questions about our characters, research and sort of backstory work that we had not done. And we were humiliated. And he was like, this is not okay. Like, you guys have work to do. You need to know who you are and why you're here and where you fit into this story. Just because yours isn't given in the script doesn't mean that it's not important. And we went away and I think did more than Jack could ever have anticipated. We created these massively intricate, interwoven stories of each character and where they came from and who they were sleeping with and who they involved with. We made a movie. Jenn made a yearbook for opening night.
Yeah, in the yearbook, John Waters was the custodian. Joe Ryan ran the drama club. It was so much fun. We did senior superlatives. So Brenda was I not Miss Congeniality? What I was popular because I went away for 9 months. We could all tell you Shelley's I don't know. Probably I feel like the Broadway aficionados know that you were thumbs up Shelley and that you did the big riff, but they don't know that she's Shelley Shorowitz and her brother is Sketch Shorowitz, and we went deep. It was so silly.
Well, that makes the best ensemble, though.
We did make the best ensemble. We did. And I'll never forget. Do you guys remember it was a gypsy, our first one? And, of course, we collected the most money and we won or whatever. But Urinetown, those freaking meanie bullies over at Urinetown. Do you remember this?
Well, I remember there's sometimes meanish sketches, but what are we remembering?
Was it Megan that was the little mini person?
Sally, sometimes, yeah.
Whoever's married to Kevin.
Yeah, Megan Lawrence.
Okay, so her and the cop, and they come out and do this skit. They would just be bullies, and they basically were like, "Isn't that funny? The kids from Hairspray think that they're going to work again." They said something like that. And
I remember that.
Laura Bell Bundy, Matthew Morrison. You're talking about an ensemble full of people that went on to just you know what I mean? It was just.
Well, we always said that. We always said that back at the time, the bench was so deep. I was understudying Carrie Butler. You were one of the understudies from Rissa. You just had the bench was deep, just full of all-stars and future all-stars, and that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anybody that you've worked with that you worked with in the past that have come back and worked with all three of you now that have been like, oh yeah, the three of you, like I remember the back in the day?
No, because we were just sort of forming our individual friendships during Hairspray. It was really after Hairspray that the three of us as a unit congealed, I think. But mostly people are just, maybe less so now, but at first, like Matt Morrison, who we've all worked with separately and then all worked with together on Hairspray. He was like, I just never would have put the three of you together. Like, I don't understand what it is or why it works, but like, you know.
Yeah, people say that a lot. They're still confused by it.
A lot.
Really good to see the three of us together. It's so rare that we get to be together. So,
Yeah.
Cool. Well, then let's shift gears and we're going to get into the wrap-up game here. So how it's going to work is that John and I will take turns asking two of you a question about what you think the third person would say or do, etc. So it's pretty self-explanatory. And if the two of you don't agree, don't say the same thing, then all three of you have to do what we're calling a bonding moment.
Okay.
We'll just do it. We'll do a couple of these.
Okay.
John, go ahead.
Okay, great. So, Jenn and Michelle, what role, regardless of gender, would Shoshana say is at the top of her dream bucket list?
Do we
Funny
say
girl.
Oh, what is it? Sorry.
Fanny Bryce and Funny
Right.
Girl.
Yes.
And Shoshana, thank you for delating all of us during the RosieBroadway.com actors.
Wasn't it fair? It was fair.
Last
out of the park.
Sunday or the Sunday before. That was just such a special moment. So I had a feeling that's what you all were going to say. So we wanted to start a little bit easy, but we're off.
All right. So Shoshana and Michelle, if Jenn were to pick a dream co-star that she's not worked with yet, who would it be?
Ooh. I don't even have a guess.
I think that I'm not going to say.
I got one.
I think she would go. I think she might go backwards. I don't know that there's a new one. I think she would probably choose to work with someone. Oh, maybe, you know what I'm going to say, Michelle? I'm going to goad you into the answer. I'm going to say probably one of her best guy friends. And his name.
Oh, Gavin Creel.
Yeah.
So you're right.
That's
If
a
I was
good
going
one.
to go backwards, without a doubt.
Yeah.
All
Who
right,
would it be if you were going forward?
Well, I don't know that you'll guess it, but I was trying to think of an actor I'd really want to kind of stand toe to toe with, and I thought of one, but I don't know if you would get him.
Who?
An actor who's
I'll give you a clue. Somebody else, another friend of ours who's closest with you, Kitty, has played opposite him, and it is slated to reprise that across the pond. But
Jake Gyllenhaal?
yes.
Who'd you say?
I did not enjoy him in Sunday in the Park, so that's the only reason I say no.
Oh, you know what? I didn't get to go see him in Sunday, but I think he's a fine actor, and I know he does a lot of musicals, and I thought that would be somebody wonderful. And I loved him. And remember that thing, Kitty, at MTC with Ruth, what was it? Not Constellations. What was it called? It was like a two-hander, him and that British lady. Oh, it was so good.
I don't remember the name of it.
But do you know what I'm talking about? It was him and her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Anybody knows?
Yeah,
Throw in the
maybe-
comments.
a play with him. I like to do more plays, but anyways, I don't know.
Seawall Life was good. He did.
Yeah, that was great. I like that.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see Seawall. I didn't see that one, but it's that one with the girl, and it was so good. The play was really interesting, but they were like, it was really good.
Okay. Next question here. Jenn and Shoshana, when it comes to dream vacations, would Michelle pick a beach trip or a cultural history trip?
Oh, that's a really good question, though. You know what?
It's not a question. It's not.
Yes,
I'm number one and number two. Like, absolutely, if I said
yes, but listen to me.
okay.
You would want like a beach in like Portugal, where then she could also do excursion cultural trips. She wants like a beach.
But that wasn't the option. The option was
I like win-win scenarios, but beach.
They got it.
What would it be, since we're disagreeing? What would it be?
No, you're right. It's the beach. I mean, if I'm given the choice, it's the beach. But yes, for sure, if I can do both, I'm doing both.
Okay, do you want to do a bonding moment?
Okay.
Okay, so just
No.
No.
take,
That's exactly right. I'm like, okay. He's like, no.
I don't know. Go ahead. Let's see.
okay, so take turns and sing. Each of you sing 10 seconds of your favorite song from Hairspray.
Without love, life is like Christmas. I won't invite us. Without love, life is always stay at the. Why am I singing Penny's part?
I don't know.
Without love's my favorite song.
Yeah. Do. Okay, my favorite song. Oh, there's a road we have traveled, lost so many long days. Especially now, right?
I literally, only because this is what we would do all the time, my answer to that would be, Hairspray, wow! Like, just because we would say it all the time.
Wow!
Yeah, totally.
All right, Jen and Michelle, if Shoshana could pick a superpower, what would it be?
Oh.
Do you want to give us choices of superpowers, or we're supposed to? Because like, do you know the answer to that immediately? Show you do.
I feel like I get asked that all the time, and I use the same answer every time.
Oh.
Oh,
I don't watch enough
another
podcasts.
bonding moment.
What about if you could either fly or be invisible? Why don't we narrow it down a bit?
Fly.
Why?
Because then you could lay flat on bed.
Oh, I could fly. He's saying if I could fly. Not
I know. You could fly. Flat.
Oh, I think Constellations. Is that the name of the show from Jake? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
You said that though, didn't you, Michelle? Or
I did, but I was like, not constellations, but it was constellations.
first instinct.
Yeah. Fly. Okay, she wants to fly because
Okay.
fly.
If I had
Everyone deserves.
it's spiraling out of control.
We are
Mom joke.
digressing hardcore.
Mom joke, love it. Okay, so last question here, then we'll wrap up. Shoshana and Michelle, if Jen could have dinner with one person dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh.
I know.
Who?
You do?
My initial response was Barack Obama, but who would you say?
Nancy Marilyn.
Okay, now you just made. I know her daughter is listening to this. And yes,
Would it be Tootsie? Would it be Tootsie or would it be Auntie Marilyn?
it would be Auntie Marilyn, and it would be at the place in Sanibel where we get oysters. And now, one of you guys type in one of the cousins. Why am I saying the name of them? Yeah, so those are the things. Yeah, that we've all been through together.
Oh, okay. So this bonding moment here is to pick a movie that all three of you love and know well and recreate a scene for 30 seconds.
Now this is all you. This is all you. Your one favorite thing that you always say about Jenny and this particular movie.
Me?
You say about me in a movie?
What's that?
Poughkeepsie.
I don't know. Huh?
Oh my God. Is anyone else hearing me say Poughkeepsie?
We're hearing you.
Poughkeepsie.
Oh, right. It's when Charlotte Poughkeepsie's in her pants in Sex and the City movie. I can't believe I didn't think of it right off the bat. Of course, that's what it is. Let's just say that we bonded with that movie, and then we bonded with that movie in Hawaii when Jen maybe got sick.
Well, okay. So then the three of you give me the
context to that.
Give me the entire plot in 45 seconds.
Of Sex and the City movie.
Movie?
Okay, be jilted, Shoshana. And
Be jilted? Oh, you want us to act it out?
Yes.
yeah, I
Oh
don't know.
God.
Okay, so
Really?
I can't have water. I can't have Mexican water.
This can't be. I cannot be consoled. I throw my cell phone in the water.
Oh my God.
And I'm gonna take a shower, but I got water in
Michelle, you're something about waxing, right?
Oh my God.
You're the other two.
All I keep thinking about is Charlotte like drinking the water in the shower and going, and then coming out and like Samantha and Carrie like, what's going on? Like, oh yeah, I have to catch it in my pants.
It happened like
I feel like I need to qualify, like, to whoever's listening. Like, I did not Poughkeepsie.
Cooper pants. He was not well.
I got sick on the way for Shoshana's birthday in Hawaii, and I didn't feel well. And then Kitty's like a traveling pharmacy. Like, if you ever get sick,
Totally.
you should be with Michelle Kittrell, because she's got everything. And then,
My mom taught me well.
yeah.
Well, this has been so much fun.
This could not be funny or fun for anyone else, but we enjoyed.
I had a smile on my face the whole time.
There were nothing came in. I think it's been just the five of us for like.
Here's a comment. Yeah, Mary Kay.
Sure. I would love to have a conversation with the Anti-Maryland. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, the three of you.
We love you.
Yeah, hi, Mayor.
This has been awesome. Thank you again. Stay well, stay healthy, quarantine, stay safe.
You guys too. And donate. Donate to the Actors
please
Fund.
donate. Please donate to the Actors Fund. Support your artists, the artists all over.
Yeah,
and,
I got my ER bills, so donate to the
the avocado slicing fund.